said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
You know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to get? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
He's seen the whole file, which is either honest or it's Bongino putting up whatever his reputation is supposed to be in defense of this cover-up. Now, Kash Patel, I find a little bit more trustworthy. When he says he's seen it and he's looking at the camera like this, he's seen some stuff, man. You can trust that face. But anyway, the issue is that they said that last year. They were trying, remember, to put this all to bed. They didn't want you to ask any questions. They didn't want any more investigation. But more and more evidence is coming out implying that perhaps Epstein didn't actually kill himself. And it looks like it might have been the FBI that helped to cover it up. Now, we're going to jump through some of the evidence that we have. There's a lot of lingering questions as these documents have come out. But first, we're going to start with the infamous missing minute of jailhouse tape. Remember, there's a minute missing from the tape they put out, and Pam Bondi tried to lie and say that every jailhouse tape is missing a minute, and then it turns out that's not true, and also it was missing more than a minute. So we're gonna get into all this, but let's jump into this video.
Could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the set?
Yeah, sure. If I
Could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
Newly released Department of Justice documents show that investigators reviewing the surveillance footage from the night of Jeffrey Epstein's death observed an orange-colored shape moving up a staircase towards the isolated locked tier where his cell was located. The final report by the Inspector General stated at approximately 10:39 p.m., an unidentified CO appeared to walk up the L-tier stairway and then reappeared within view of the camera at 10:41. Now, I don't think anyone is actually trying to imply that Donald Trump himself killed Epstein. He's not the orange shape that was going up the stairs, but somebody perhaps in like a convict's uniform orange was going up there. And I guess we're just never going to get to find out what that was about because Pam Bondi's not interested. Kash Patel, Dan Bongino have no questions. It's been in the files since back when they did that interview. Nobody's got any questions about it. Seems a little strange from where I'm sitting. Now, no official time of death was ever determined for Epstein. Again, very suspicious. But official reports state that he died by suicide sometime before 6:30 a.m. when a corrections officer came to a cell to deliver his breakfast and found him. One huge issue with that story is that, and this could just be a typo, maybe, the U.S. Attorney's Office had already drafted multiple statements about Epstein's passing the day before. Now, you can see it right there. I am assuming that has to just be a typo, right? Because why would you put it together beforehand? And having somebody put it together beforehand adds extra people into whatever conspiracy we'd be thinking is going on. It seems needless. It seems too good to be true. But it is yet another thing out there that evidently no questions were asked about, no investigation. Shut up and move on, as Donald Trump says. I guess, JR, that's how we're supposed to respond to this. What do you think?
I would love for an easy follow-up question to things like what Kash Patel said was, you know, a suicide when you see one. Well, I mean, I guess we're all not investigators. How so? What is it about a suicide you see, you know, when you see it as soon as you step into the room that confirms it was a suicide? What did you see then? Like, they don't have any answers. And for some reason, no one asked. I get it was Marie Bartiromo. There's no way she was going to ask them more questions. But there's so many holes, easily poked holes into these stories. I'm not sure why people just don't do it. Even if you're just curious, be like, oh, man, that's interesting, Kash. How did you know so quickly? Because you must be so good at this. We trust you, right? They've told so many lies. They've been caught telling so many lies from the beginning to the end of anything. They were talking just specifically about the jailhouse footage from the video and the minute missing to Donald Trump saying he wasn't involved with the guy when he said he was, to the birthday book where he said he didn't really write that, to then we found out that we did. He was going to sue the Wall Street Journal. Like, it's countless levels of lies. From the first one you tell, it very obviously shows that you were lying about this piece of information. What leads us to continue to then, after you speak about this same subject again, to not have the first thought in your head is, yo, they lied about this before. They're liars. They're probably lying right now. Why do we have this re-up in some kind of confidence in their ability to lie? That when they've shown us that that's what they're doing, every question follows should be, why did you guys lie about that? No one's asked them yet, why did you lie about that, Pam Bondi? Because we know that you lied about it. Not let's discuss if you lied about it. We know it. It's concrete fact. Oddly, for some reason, when we see conspiracies, which this is, backed up by actual printed evidence, like the fact that they released this immediate release the day before they killed the guy, then why is it that we can't look at that and say, this is weird? Can you guys answer for this? And then when they say no, the American people want to talk about it, just say, no, actually, I polled 100% of the American people, since we're getting outrageous. 100% of American people want to see about this. There's a newborn in Alabama who wants to hear about this. When are we going to ask them the questions about answer for it? Or it's time to just move on and take some actions from the fact that we know why you're hiding all of this. It's very simple.
And that's what they're doing. Pam Bondi, remember, started this whole thing by coming out and being like, oh yeah, by the way, we're done with that. Remember that, like, we did the binders with the influencers? Yeah, that was just for fun. No, we're done. Investigation over. So then everything blows up. And then what did we get a couple weeks ago? Todd Blanche comes out and says, we're done. That's it. We're not investigating anyone. That whole thing about, like, your littlest girl was very naughty. No, we're not going to talk to that guy, and you don't get to know who he is. We're done. We're not investigating that. We're not doing any of this. The thing about the spy being tortured or whatever, no, you're just never going to know what that is. I don't care. I'm not interested. Maybe it touches Trump. I don't know. People are pointing out how uncomfortable Dan Bongino looked while he was saying that, which, yes. Now, look, we can't judge him based on sweating. He's a sweaty dude under the best of circumstances. But there's also two possible explanations why he would be so uncomfortable. One is that he knows he's lying. He saw what was in the files, or has an idea of what's in the files, and then he realizes, oh God, I'm setting fire to my reputation by participating in this. Or it could be that he said a bunch of stuff that turns out not to be true. He looks in the files, there's no evidence, and he's like, oh God, they're gonna hate me for saying there's nothing here when I kept telling them there was. I don't know for sure. Well, actually, I do. I've seen enough of the files to know that they're lying and they're covering it up. They're lying and they're covering it up. And honestly, this kind of reminds me, and I'll end on this. It reminds me of when we were covering the Virginia gerrymander. At a certain point, something can be so over the top that it makes you uncomfortable. Like, this cover up is so much that, like, I almost don't even want to look at it. Like, it's supposed to be a thing where we're supposed to dig and, like, try to find out information and scrape together a couple things. This is, you're just being punched in the face with this cover up every single day and being told to just move on. It's ridiculous. If you enjoyed that, then make sure that you never miss another video by subscribing. And if you want a little more, consider hitting the join button and becoming a member. So you're probably wondering, why would I do that? Well, when you do that, you get access to bonus content that I make every single week, and it's a lot of fun. You get custom emojis and more. If you join at tier 3, by the way, you even get access to a monthly member hangout with myself. And you'll get all that going forward, but you'll also unlock years of the back catalog that is literally 100 or more bonus clips and top 10 lists and debates and more. So what